Did you hear snakes got into the JLA's headquarters? No one got bit, but they're calling it the Hall of Justice. Welcome to Comic Book Editions, Volume 225. It's an all JLA haul in today's video, and I'm so happy that you're here. As I continue to welcome you to today's video, I'm going to show you a couple variants of Justice League of America Volume 1, Issue 1 that I've added into my collection. During my last JLA haul video, which was Comic Book Editions Volume 209, I shared with you the Justice League of America Volume 1, Issue 1 facsimile that was released last year by DC. I shared with you the foil variant cover and the blank sketch variant cover. Well, I've also added in the regular A cover into my collection now as well. If you're new to my YouTube channel and haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll take this opportunity to do so. Sharing the channel with someone else that might be interested is another great way to show support. My ultimate goal is 1,000 subscribers, and we're chugging away there. We're getting there. We're actually not too far from 850, but I thank you for your friendship and the support and all the returning viewers and friends that come to check out what I've added into my collection. I really appreciate you very much. Also, I love reading your comments, so at the end of today's video, I'll be asking what you thought about the books that I share in today's video. Love reading those comments. They're welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. Another variant for issue number 1 that went into my collection. This was released in 2016, and it was an exclusive to one of the Wizard World conventions. I think they called it the Wizard World Box Convention exclusive. There's 3 different versions and variations of this cover. Inside is another, the comic book inside is another version, I guess you could call it a facsimile, of Justice League of America Volume 1, Issue 1. This was the hardest to find out of the 3. You might remember back to my comic book editions video, Volume 107, where I had picked up 2 of those 3 variants. This was the elusive one that I was missing, and I could never find this thing on eBay. Now, I never set an alert to be notified when it was listed, but I would search fairly often to see if I could find this cover, this version of it on eBay, and always struck out. Recently, I was searching. Not only did I get a result, there was a couple results for it. Feast or famine. And one of those ended up being a high bid for me, and now has been added into my collection. We're ready to get into the official haul portion. I am missing issues between Justice League number 12 and Justice League number 94. And I'm going to fill in some of those gaps in today's video. You're going to see comic books that were released between 1962 and 1971. About a year ago at this time, I was 36 issues away from completing Justice League Volume 1. So I set a goal, a 3-year goal, 1 a month for the next 3 years. So essentially 12 a year. If you might remember from watching my videos last year, I really blew past that 12 a year goal. And these books are all 2024 purchases that finally got to me because of the Canadian postal strike. I wasn't able to get them in time to include them in a video last year. So I'm playing a little bit of catch up in today's video by sharing. And I start out with a 1962 book. It's Justice League of America Volume 1, issue number 12. So I just said a moment ago that it's issues between 12 and 94 that I need to fill into my run. Let's amend that instantly by saying now it's issues between Justice League of America issue 15 and 94 that I need to add into my collection. Issue 12, classic original JLA creative team, Gardner Fox as the writer and Mike Sekowsky as the artist. We have the Riddle of the Robot Justice League. And I'm not going to go into this a whole lot because later this year, John's Comics with Kids and I will be going into this issue for our JLA versus Avenger show. We just did a JLA versus Avenger show on his channel last Thursday. If you missed that, you can catch that on the rewind. It's archived in a playlist folder here on my YouTube channel. I love doing that show. It's so much fun. And we battled out the Silver Age Justice League of America issue number 8 with the Silver Age Avengers Volume 1 issue number 8 to see who had a better issue number 8. And we'll be doing that again in a few weeks next month. Technically next month. I mean, it's almost February right now. But we'll be doing that again in a few weeks with issue number 9, which will be a fun one because that's the JLA's origin versus the first appearance of Wonder Man. That will be very cool. By the way, you can ignore any prices that you see on here because that's not what I paid for these books. Up next is issue number 26 from Volume 1. We're at 1964 right now. When I was showing you those facsimiles of Justice League of America, Volume 1, we saw Despero in his first appearance. Despero is back. And in this issue, he decides, let's age the JLA. Let's make him super duper old and see what happens. And that's kind of the basis of this story. Got a nice blue background going. Even though no Wonder Woman on the cover, still need it for the collection. And I haven't spent a whole lot of time with this issue, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I just recently got all of these books in, and when I did, the first one of these lot of books that I'm showing to you right now is this one that I read. From 1964 as well, Justice League of America Volume 1, issue number 31. This is where Hawkman joins the JLA. This was my favorite cover probably out of all of the books that I'm sharing with you in today's Comic Book Editions Volume 225 video. Not only is Hawkman joining the team, there is a character introduced near the end of the story called Super Duper. And Super Duper combines body parts and gadgets from various Justice League of America members. Super Duper, who is mute and cannot talk, and is considered male, according to something that I read, a profile on Super Duper, has Wonder Woman's head and the magic lasso, has Batman's torso, Flash's legs, Green Lantern's arms, including the power ring, and Super Duper is composed of a yellow force that would be immune to a Green Lantern ring. You'll hear me talk about Super Duper in a few weeks on another updated or future Comic Book Editions video. I was excited to get what is the first appearance, if not maybe the only appearance of Super Duper. Very weird and interesting character. So essentially the story with this is this guy finds this machine that kind of grants some of his wishes. He tests it out. He has someone rob a bank and they put these hula hoops around them as protection. They just call them hoops, but they essentially look like hula hoops to me, although they weren't like shaking their hips or anything. And it's just, and so he ends up making Super Duper out of that to try to destroy the Justice League as well. A weird issue. Hawkgirl does make an appearance too, and they say, sorry, Hawkgirl, we can only induct one new member at a time. This is before they kind of had that excuse, no duplication of powers in the League, which I never understood, especially when you have Superman in there. Why wouldn't you put Supergirl in there too? She's like almost as powerful as he is. Put all that force in the team. That's what I say. Jumping ahead now to issue number 33. Here we have the team kind of divided in two. The characters we see on the cover, Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Lantern, and Hawkman, were all inside the JLA sanctuary, while the other members couldn't get into the sanctuary. Well, the ones inside, the one that you see depicted on the cover, they get transported into a future dimension and have to battle all these futuristic weapons. While something from that dimension comes back and takes the other JLA members and citizens of Earth and kind of holds them hostage and makes them slaves. That's the basis of the story for this one. Nice yellow cover this time around. Kind of, well, maybe a butterscotch cover. Butterscotch cover. Now I'm getting hungry. We're going to take a little bit of a jump now to 1966, Justice League of America Volume 1, issue number 48. They were doing a lot of reprints at this time in this title and taking several stories. Most of the time it was 2 or 3 stories and just reprinting them with a brand new original cover, which is the case of what's going on here. Mike Sekowsky and Murphy Anderson doing this new original cover. The stories reprinted are Brave and the Bold, issue number 29, and Justice League of America Volume 1, issues number 2 and 3. Of course, I have 2 and 3 in my collection, and John's Comics with Kids and I have already done a battle against Avengers issue number 2 and 3 on those two. Brave and the Bold 29, they just released a few weeks ago as a facsimile, which is cool. I haven't picked up my copy yet, but I want to. They have a facsimile announced for issue number 30 as well. So 28, 29, and 30, the JLA's first 3 appearances, all in Brave and the Bold, are available in facsimile. This does help me out a little bit because I've been trying to decide, and I shouldn't say trying to decide. I'm going to finish this run first before I give some serious thought to it. Do I want to get the originals of those books? JLA 28 is going to be very hard for me to get it even very low grade in my budget. So That's a little bit of a problem, but I've learned never to say never. You never know what's possible. So I want to focus on completing this Justice League of America Volume 1 run first and then see what happens. See what we can do then. But having the facsimile option certainly makes my collection feel a little more complete. I know some people are into the facsimiles. I love the facsimiles. Issue number 52 boasts a nice green cover. And what is cool about this story, which came out in 1967, is they kind of explain what happened to some of the other heroes that weren't available to be in Justice League of America number 50. And in doing so, they also tie in to events that happened in Adam's comic book, the Adam issue number 27 as well. They also make mention that a green sun can affect Superman in a different way. I think it makes him sick. I think if I remember correctly, that's what it is, which was allotted to as well in Superman Volume 1, issue number 155. Robots, in the 60s probably were a cool concept, and a kid, plucking down his 12 cents to get this comic book with a robot on the cover was probably a no-brainer back then. So as I move forward in my JLA haul, this comic book is probably the most expensive out of all of the comic books for Justice League Volume 1 that I had left to get. I lucked out pretty well by having so many of the keys. This is Justice League of America Volume 1, issue 60 from 1968. We have Dick Dillon and Gardner Fox as the creative team. Now Dick Dillon, longtime JLA artist. This is first appearance of the second Red Tornado, the one that most people got associated with. It's a JLA comic book, but it's all Justice Society inside the story. They make a little bit of a mention of the JLA and the big bad villain in this issue, T.O. Morrow. Yes, T.O. Morrow. The scientist needs to conquer Earth 2 first, the heroes from Earth 2 first, which will ensure victory when he transitions over into Earth 1. At least that's what his supercomputer is telling him to. And we got the reintroduction of Red Tornado. The JSA is like, I don't think you're the Red Tornado. And he's like, I am the Red Tornado. And it was actually a pretty decent issue. I like the cover a lot. Very easy read. I've always been a fan of Dick Dillon's Justice League. He was the artist that, because he was on JLA for such a long time, that I knew when I first started reading Justice League of America comic books. As I also mentioned too, just circling back to it, this being an expensive key, it's nice to have this one checked off because the books that are remaining that I need, none of them are expensive keys or anything that I should have to, shell out any serious money for. And then I have one more book to share. It's Justice League of America number 94. So wait a minute, 94 was the most recent issue that I needed when I started this out. I said I need issues between 12 and 94. I showed you a number 12. Now I'm showing you a number 94. That means I need JLA comic books between issues 15 and 91 to complete this. But specifically talking about this story, you see Aquaman's being possessed. If you look pretty closely, it kind of looks if you just glance fast like a generic ghost or spirit or something, it's actually Dead Man. And if you look close enough, you can see that I think they did a great job in alluding that, yes, it's Dead Man, but without flat out just giving it away. This is Neil Adams' artwork. Neil Adams and Dick Dillon working on this issue with Neil Adams doing the cover. Our big bad villain is a Green Arrow villain in this issue. It's Merlin the Archer. We got the Dead Man appearance as well. Plus, as you can probably see, we have reprints with the origins of Sandman and Starman. The Sandman origin comes from Adventure Comics number 40. The Starman origin reprinted from Adventure Comics number 61. So I got the oldest and most recent that I needed in this JLA haul. So now that we add all of these books in there, for 2025, what's left? 9 issues are left. 9. That's it. Single digits. As a matter of fact, these are the specific 9 issues that I have left that I need to complete Justice League of America, volume number 1. So now that you see what I'm working with, what do you think? Right now, my plan is to get 5 of these this year and the remaining 4 next year and wrap up JLA Volume 1. Is that the approach you would take if you were in my shoes? Or would you try to knock them all out at once? Leave me a comment and let me know. Since I'm asking for your comments, what did you think about the books I shared today? Do you have any of these in your collection? I would love to know. I said it before, but it's true that your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. Next week on Comic Book Editions Volume 226, I'm going to share with you my comic book / superhero Christmas gifts that I received this past Christmas. And I've already gone to my first comic show of 2025. And I picked up a couple things, and I think I'm going to combine those all together in one video next week on my channel. You won't want to miss that because I did end up getting not 1, but 2 things that I didn't know if I'd ever end up owning. I'm going to be excited to share that with you. Already on my channel that's new, yesterday is my regular back issue of the week YouTube short. And this time it's the Marvel Comics character Captain Marvel and his first appearance. If you haven't checked that video out, I hope that you will look into that. This upcoming Sunday, Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, will be on my YouTube channel, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. Tony Fett will be there. Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe will be with us. And it's my pick, and I think I'm leaning towards a Batman story. So look for that this upcoming Sunday on my channel. Until we get the chance to visit next week, thank you for making it to the end of today's video. Stay healthy and safe, and I can't wait to spend more time with you in 2025 and visit with you again soon. Until then, take care.